Good morning, welcome. This is Mornings with Zizi. I'm Zizi. I want to share with you today about two things. I already talked to you about the loving kindness that you send randomly to people by just sitting, meditating, and sending it off to anybody and everybody. And that does definitely come back tenfold, hundredfolds. The new thing I would like to concentrate on for the next maybe month is to train myself to develop self compassion and compassion to others. Now, self compassion is different from loving kindness because loving kindness, you don't need to have any pain actually. By just meditating on spreading the love and the kindness, you do feel inner joy and happiness. So it's a reward in itself. With self compassion, you have to have pain, and the other person has to have pain so that you can feel that compassion towards that person. Without pain, there's no compassion. It's just love or loving kindness. So what happens usually, we usually are very hard on ourselves. Let's admit that. Either in giving love or self-love or loving kindness, we sometimes talk to ourselves as if we're our worst enemy. We never talk to our friends the way we just blast ourselves for something that went wrong and so on. So by developing the forgiveness of oneself and loving kindness, we become a little bit more capable of having that compassion. I know it's easier to have compassion for others, but it's the self-compassion that you get for yourself, to understand how you're feeling. I remember when I had accidents and I used to force myself to go to work with the plaster on my legs and with a lot of pain because I was trying to provide for my children. That was very hard, and I really didn't feel any compassion to myself. I was just beating myself up by saying, you have to go, we need the money, you have to go and do what you have to do, your children have to go to university and they have to graduate. So there was no self-compassion, feeling my pain or realizing my inner child is suffering or my adult is suffering. No such thing. So with days and years, I started understanding myself more, realizing that some of the pain is continuous, some of it is not that continuous. And I started feeling during one of the courses with Lisa Nichols, I had this inner child come all of a sudden asking for my attention, my inner own child. And I realized that your inner child needs to be loved, needs to be reassured that what they've gone through for you, you appreciate. So from that day on, I started becoming a little bit more attentive to what I was feeling and what my inner child wanted, and I started forgiving myself for some of the things I felt and did that I didn't really like. So I think also forgiving oneself for whatever secrets we have or whatever things we did which we don't really feel are good is very important. And then I started looking at other people. Now, mind you, there are two people in my life which I tried to understand and to love and to have, actual real compassion, but there was no response. But doesn't matter, because as long as you send them the loving kindness and that you have this feeling of compassion for them, even if they are not there, even if they don't realize that you're doing it, it makes you feel better. It makes you have joy and makes you feel, well, I've done my part, there's nothing more I can do. So I invite you to just reflect on the loving kindness you do to yourself and to others, and the self-compassion, understanding why you feel that way and accommodating how you feel and giving yourself time. And then also compassion for others. And you can't have compassion for others if you don't have compassion for yourself. So I invite you to join me in practicing this for a while. Love you all. Have a wonderful day.